Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
They set out to conquer the world.
We had the songs, we had the attitude, we had the fire.
We were determined to kick people's ass, and we did.
And made their own rules along the way.
Nobody's gonna sit down and tell me what Metallica's about or how it's supposed to be.
From the heights of excess.
Beer, pal.
We were just getting as drunk as possible, as many girls as possible.
Destroying dressing rooms, getting in fights, shooting guns off at hotels.
We were pretty much inebriated 24 hours a day.
To the brink of destruction.
You're just sitting here being a complete.
Well, these guys had all this buried tension, and they just started boiling over.
I was just left wondering, do we even have a band?
And back on top again.
Metallica is in a real good mood tonight.
These are the stories of the world's most volatile band, told by the people who lived them.
Every time we made two people happy, we pissed somebody else off.
When we get in and play music, the world could be on fire, and we would be fine.
Get on the train with us and hold on tight, because we don't stop, we go hard.
When Metallica ruled the world.
In a world where only speed metal
soul
and hairspray
was a crime, art
were taken over and turned into headbangers,
and so began a time of pure
Alcoholica, where only
the Sandman reigned, and
thrash was the name of the game.
when Metallica ruled the world.
Metallica just started out being basically James and Lars. James came from a very strict background and grew up in a suburb of Los Angeles, Downey, Norwalk area.
My dad left at 13, and my mom passed on when I was 16. It's like, what's going on? Everyone's just leaving me. But the music was a huge, huge savior in my life.
I moved from Denmark to Southern California in August of 1980. I was 16 and sort of fooling myself into believing that I was going to follow in my father's footsteps, be a professional tennis player. But within 5 minutes of being in LA, it was all about the music in England.
The new wave of British heavy metal was just starting to explode in England. You had bands like Iron Maiden getting recognized.
Diamond Head, Angel Witch, Tigers of Pantang, Venom, full-on metal bands, back when they were really metal. So I became kind of obsessed with all of it, and I threw the tennis rackets, burned them probably, and kind of started fiddling with the drums.
And he was always like, I'm going to start a band. We're like, yeah, sure you are, Lars.
I started advertising through the Recyclers classified ad newspaper in LA, where you could sell your car or find a lead singer for your band.
Every week that it would come out, looking under H, for heavy metal, or M for metal, it was always him and me, maybe a few other people.
One day this guy named Hugh called up and said he was pretty into the metal stuff and he was going to come along for a jam, and he brought his friend James Hetfield along.
I went to his house, and whoa, man, there was a very interesting smell, a very Danish type of armpit smell.
James was incredibly shy and could hardly even make eye contact, but he seemed to at least have a passion for some of the same things that I was into.
His drumming was not amazing, but he had this drive. Hooking up with Lars was awesome, and we bonded a lot in the music and in the drinking as well.
We worked on this song called Hit the Lights. He played bass and guitar, I played the drums, and he sang.
The production wasn't good, but the song had attitude. Kind of just dirty and in your face.
And we called the band Metallica, and that was really the beginning of it.
The next guy that came in the band was Dave Mustaine.
Dave was an amazing guitar player. He could shred. He was doing some amazing solos.
He was the guy that could really play his instrument. None of the other guys really were that good, but Dave also liked to party a lot. He out-partied the rest of Metallica.
It was San Francisco Metal Night at the Whiskey in LA, and me and James went down there.
Say hi to Cliff. And we looked down on the stage, we heard this wild solo going on. there's this big mop of red hair going nuts, you know, and it was a wah sound. It's like, man, that guitar is heavy. And we look and we're counting the strings on it. Dude, that's a bass.
That was this guy, Cliff Burton. Me and James had never seen anything like him, and we just looked at each other and said, we have to get this guy in our band.
So we stuck around and we pulled him aside and said, you are amazing. We got to steal you. Basically, at the end of the day, he said, you know, I like you guys, but you guys are going to have to move up to San Francisco.
Absolutely.
We were ready to get out of L.A.
LA sucks!
Even in '82, LA still was such a pansy-ass environment for metal.
Hair metal, big hair, glitzy outfits.
All he couldn't read or talk about strippers and partying,
getting laid on the Sunset Strip.
Metallica was completely different. They were street. It was just t-shirts, jeans, let's get down to business. Let's not screw around.
Now, why should we change? We're on stage. You know, we're not trying to be something big and fancy, you know.
We didn't fit in with the music scene in L.A. We did up in San Francisco.
I mean, in L.A. you get drinks with umbrellas in them. Up in San Francisco, it's a beer can. I mean, it was a much grittier atmosphere.
So we went right up there instantly.
San Francisco, would you please welcome Metallica?
That whole scene in San Francisco at the time was just waiting for a band like that to come up there and play.
They liked the music, they liked the lyrics, and they didn't have to dress a certain way.
Guys like me that were wearing like my Judas Priest denim jacket painted and my scarf. Metallica said, take that off. It's not metal. Just hang out.
We made a demo tape, and I just sat there and sent it to 20 people. And then those 20 people each send it to another 10 people.
Somebody came into our store, Rock and Roll Heaven, in East Brunswick, New Jersey, and basically handed off a cassette for us to play. And the second we heard the first notes, we were blown away.
Well, Johnny Z started a record company called Megaforce and basically called them up and said, hey, if you guys come to New York, I'll do a record. So they were like, sure, let's do it.
He paid for us to drive all the way out with our gear in a U-Haul trailer. He never even met us before. First thing we say to him is, hi, we're getting rid of our guitar player. On our way out to the East Coast, we were staying at connections of friends, and Dave, he was trashing their houses and just really disrespecting stuff.
You know, we drank a lot. God, did we drink a lot. But Dave had sides to him when he was drunk that was not positive. I think especially Cliff thought that Dave Mustaine was just like out of his mind.
It was going to bring us all down, and we had to put an end to it.
If you ever wake up and the other 3 band members are sitting, you know, within 2 feet of you, staring at you as you're rubbing sleep out of your eyes, probably not a good sign. And that was what Dave awoke to that morning.
We had the bus ticket in hand. Dude, we've got to let you go.
Gave him 15 minutes to get his things together, and then put him on a bus and then back to California.
Probably not the nicest way to do it, but that's all we knew.
So me and James got roaringly drunk about 10, 11 in the morning and went sightseeing.
Start spreading the news.
We went to the top of the Empire State Building and just started drinking. And whatever that did for us, it helped.
That same night, Kirk Hammett came out from San Francisco, who was the lead guitar player of this band, Exodus.
When I arrived, it was about, I'd say 7 o'clock in the evening. These guys were just getting up. And I thought, wow, I like these guys.
He set up his gear. We played Seek and Destroy, and about halfway through Seek and Destroy, I remember me and James looked at each other and kind of just nodded, and we knew that it was the right thing.
They never really told me that I got the job or I was in the band, you know. I just kind of went along with the ride, and all of a sudden I had about, I don't know, 10, 12 gigs under my belt.
Kirk, when he first came in, he looked like a guy he was really shell-shocked.
Within the first 2 or 3 weeks I was in the band, I found myself getting in between Lars and James. I can remember us just drinking, and all of a sudden Lars and James getting into it. James pushed Lars, and Lars fell into his drum kit. And Lars got up and started running toward James and tackling him. And me getting up and going, hey, whoa here, guys, come on. Little did I know that that would be something I would be doing on numerous occasions over the next 20 years.
We have a debut album out on Megaforce Records. It's called Kill 'Em All.
What Metallica did in 1983 was they delivered an album that went where others didn't go.
It was just so aggressive and so tough, and it's boys will be boys.
No American band ever sounded like that. And you had all these underground kids that all of a sudden when that record came out, it was like, this is our band. This is really our band.
We had a very, very pure vision back then. Just four guys who just loved to play metal.
We didn't think too much, we just did it.
We were just living in the moment.
We had the songs, we had the attitude, we had the fire. We were out to conquer the world.
Coming up, Metallica drinks to success.
Everyone was calling us Alcoholica.
We were proud of that. We're living the rock and roll dream, and we can drink more than you.
And later, they get filthy clean.
We would tell our tour manager, when we go off stage, we want the showers running and girls in there ready and willing to bathe us.
Next, on When Metallica Ruled the World.
This is called No Remorse.
In 1983, Metallica definitely were heroes of the underground. Kill 'Em All came out, and they went out and toured, and people saw how great they were live.
We had about 35 dates with one of our favorite bands called Raven, and we went out and saw the United States for the first time.
I really can't remember much of the Kill 'Em All for One tour because we were pretty much inebriated 24 hours a day.
It was a bunch of 19-year-old kids who were basically given a carte blanche to just go out and rage and pillage.
Destroying dressing rooms, getting in fights, fighting each other.
We didn't know anything about touring at all in those days, but we know one thing, don't take a Winnebago out and expect to ever return it.
This poor Winnebago just died an ugly death.
The trailer didn't have a top when it ended.
It was probably the odor of all the alcohol that just killed everything. It was crazy.
We're out of beer, pal. Beer.
Everyone was calling us Alcoholica. We'd roll into town and, I'd hear people screaming, Alcoholica! The name just stuck.
Don't start drinking. I'm gonna leave.
We were proud of that. We're living the rock and roll dream, and we can drink more than you.
For the most part, the booze just fueled those first few shows and then started fueling those first few tours.
We had to drink before we went on stage. Getting warmed up. I remember being fearful one night. Oh, I'm not drunk. What do you mean we're going on in 10 minutes? Oh, trying to drink as much as possible. It's just crazy.
I just want to say cheers to all you guys. Thanks for coming down and getting nutty with us, man. Cheers.
I mean, it got to the point where someone gave me a live tape and I was like, oh my God, that's us. That doesn't even sound like us.
We were out to drink and destroy. We'd come out of clubs at 7 in the morning. People are off on their way to work. We're jumping on the hoods of their cars at stop signs. Go to work.
The kind of stuff that we were doing just probably shouldn't be talked about in family television.
Shooting guns off at hotels, in the middle of Hollywood.
It also involved a lot of other things, like partaking in the odd female.
Back then, bands like Metallica, Anthrax, Slayer, the girls were kind of few and far between. And maybe it's because of what we looked like.
I'm too sexy for my shirt.
God, they're ugly. Let's watch ugly guys.
We looked like we were 7-Eleven employees.
Take a rock.